Welcome back to Shire Travels. In this one, I'm going to be taking you through some of our favourite spots in the High Country and surrounds. I'll show you some of our favourite campsites, four-wheel drive tracks, walks, hikes, attractions all around the area. The first place I'm going to take you through is Morning Glory Hut. This is just south of Licola. To get into this campsite, you do need to cross the McAllister River. We went in the middle of summer and it was probably about 600 mil deep. This is a classic high country track to get into Morning Glory Hut, travelling along the ridge lines, very rocky, narrow roads, cliff edge on either side, quintessential high country roads. The trek itself wasn't too difficult. As I said, you do have to cross a river and there are a few steep sections and quite a few washouts that you do have to go up and over. I don't think it would be possible to tow anything in there. When we did this trip, it was just in tents and swags. There is a small hut there which has an area which you could sleep in if you needed to and a wood burner. A small undercover outdoor area which was perfect because it poured down with rain on one of the days that we were there. And then there's a beautiful river with cliffs either side. The river isn't too deep, just outside where the hut is, and you can just sit in it and have a few drinks. There's quite a big area to camp. When we went, I think we probably had about 8 to 10 cars there, and there was plenty of room for everyone to spread out and have their own spot. Typical Victorian weather. When we drove into camp it was about 42 degrees and when we left it was honestly about 16. The next spot that we are heading to is Mount Buffalo National Park. Located just outside of the small towns of Bright and Porepunkah, Mount Buffalo National Park is a brilliant place to go for a day trip. They do also have camping there as well. It's not something that we've done, we've just been there a couple of times during the day, but there are a few different options for camping. The first port of call for a lot of people when they first drive into Mount Buffalo National Park is to head to Ladies Bath Falls. This is an absolutely beautiful spot with a small waterfall. There's a little bit of a deeper pool if you do want to have a bit of a swim, and you can also slide down the rocks into the water. The walk itself is about 200 meters from the car park. There's a little bit of rock scrambling to get down to the very bottom part of the waterfall, but it's not too bad. As you can see, we did it with 4 kids in tow. Another stop on the Mount Buffalo day trip is Lake Katani, a nice spot to just have a bit of lunch, and they also have a campground there. Heading all the way up to the very top of the mountain, you get to the Horn Lookout. It is a very famous, beautiful spot. If you are there at sunrise or sunset, you can get some incredible photos over the mountains. And if you're feeling particularly energetic, there is an additional walk you can do to get to an even higher point. It's not something we've done. Getting to the Horn Lookout itself is high enough. Another waterfall that we ventured to is Dixon's Falls. Now, I thought this was at the very top next to the chalet, but looking at a map, it doesn't appear to be, although I'm not 100% sure if this map is right. It wasn't too far of a walk, I want to say maybe 500 meters each way, and it takes you to a waterfall which goes over the edge of a cliff. If you're into your walking, there are plenty of day walks that you can do in the national park there. And there's also another couple of waterfalls. There's Urabin Falls and Rollerson Falls, which look beautiful. Back down the mountain, and our next stop is the town of Bright. This is a very popular tourist town, popular all year round. It's one of those places that is beautiful in every season. We've stayed there in summer at the local caravan park, which was fantastic. They have a really good brewery in town, a water park, which is right next to the river where you can jump in and have a swim. It's also a very popular place in autumn where the trees that line the road in and out of town turn a beautiful red colour. Very family friendly, a lovely place to base yourself if you are looking to explore the high country. Just south of Bright, our next stop is the Buckland camping area. If caravan parks aren't your thing, but you are looking for somewhere to camp nearby, this is a fantastic spot. It's free, there's a few different campsites down by the river, all have fairly good river access. A lot of them had drop toilets, were open and flat. It's a gravel track into the campsites. If you had a really big rig, you might struggle, but for most average sized caravans, you get in there no problem. The next place that we are heading to is Rubicon and the Rubicon Power Station. There are some beautiful old trestle bridges here, one which you can drive under and do a nice photo shoot, as you can see here. And then from the power station, there's a heritage walk you can do down to a waterfall, and it follows the old train track back to the power station. A really nice walk through the forest. It takes you over another couple of trestle bridges, and then there's a nice waterfall at the end. The next stop on our list is Blue Rag Range. Now this is a great day trip to do. It's very accessible from a few different areas that you can see around there in the Alpine National Park. This is a trip that we've done a couple of times, once in the old 105 as you can see here, and most recently in our 200 series. Both of them managed it fine. We've seen very stock cars go along the forward drive track and they don't seem to have any issues. It's nothing too technical, it's just one single lane track pretty much along a very, very steep ridgeline. Once again, a very typical Victorian high country track. The views at the trig point at the top are fantastic. Even when it's a little bit cloudy, you can still see quite far. As you can see, it is an incredibly beautiful drive, such a special spot to be able to hop out the car and get some lovely pictures. The next place we're heading to is Mount Beauty, which is a beautiful small town. We're going to start off at Mermaid Beach, which is a very easy walk you can do along a small river. Very family friendly, an amazing place to cool off in the hot weather. Mount Beauty town itself is very, very nice. It has a large lake in the middle, which has a small airport behind it, so you can watch planes take off over the lake. The most popular walk that it has there though is the Mount Beauty Gorge Walk. We've done this a couple of times with kids in tow. It can be a little bit difficult. Both times that we went, it was on quite warm days. Look, you do want to be there in the warmer weather because the water is really cold, but it is a little bit steep up and down. If you want to get down to the very end where you can actually get to the gorge, you do have to do a little bit of water crossing and rock hopping. We've managed to make it work with kids. We take the smallest one in the backpack carrier and we just take our time making our way through the gorge. There are some beautiful spots along the river where you can set yourself up and spend an afternoon just splashing around in the water. If you head further into the gorge, it is much deeper and I think you can go quite far down. We haven't ventured that far because we've had the small kids with us. The The next place we are heading to is Jamieson. Now, the next video coming out, I'm going to be talking you through a trip that we did there recently and telling you all about this amazing campground that we stayed at. While we were there, we also did the short drive up to Frenchman's Gap. And popped in to the Woods Point Hotel. There's a lot of great camping in the Jamieson area, and in the next video I'll talk you through some of the great places that we've stayed at. Our next stop is Mount Terrible. If you watched our last video, you would have seen that we recently ventured up there. It's absolutely beautiful in any season. You have some really nice views over the mountain ranges there. There's a hut with a wood burner and a visitor's book, and then a couple of picnic benches outside. It's a very popular spot as the drive up and down isn't too difficult, and it's fairly accessible from a few different towns around there. Next on the list is a really great camping spot just north of Lacola called Red Bluff. I'll put a link to the video that we did when we stayed there for a weekend. It was a fantastic spot, really nice camping. The river there is absolutely beautiful. There's quite a few different campsites in that area, but I think this one is the most picturesque. It's got that really unique red rock and a beautiful swimming hole just in front of it. It's also not too far to go to Billy Goat Bluff track, a very famous and, to be honest, personally quite scary four-wheel drive track as it goes right along the cliff edge. Next is a short walk, which is an ideal spot to go to if you're staying at Jamieson or Eildon, and this is the RAAF Arvo Anson Memorial Track. This is a short and fairly easy walk to a memorial where in 1940, unfortunately, a military aircraft crashed, claiming the lives of the 4 people on board. Next, we're heading northeast of Eildon and we're heading to Watson's Mountain Country Trail Rides. It's a really unique way to get out and about seeing the high country. They offer all different sorts of rides there, whether you're a beginner like Tom or experienced like me, they have something for everyone. It's a really fun and unique way to get out and see this beautiful part of the country. The next stop on our tour of the high country is the small little town of Porepunkah. We stayed at the caravan park in town and had a great time. It's very family friendly. It's also walkable distance to the local pub, which is fantastic. The small river that they have flowing through the town, and they also have a playground there too. Our next activity is something a little bit random. We're heading to the town of Mansfield to hop on a helicopter. This was a really fun thing to do. It gave us a fantastic viewpoint over Lake Eildon. And then we got to land on the top of a lookout, have a glass of wine and a bit of cheese, and then head back to Mansfield, again flying over the lake. Another fun thing you can do if you are in Eildon is rent a boat, either a little pontoon like we did, or even a houseboat. The next stop is Cobungra. Again, I've got a separate video on what we did there. Cobungra Station hosts the Easter Polo every year. It's a fantastic spot to see a really unique event in a very beautiful setting. The next place we're heading to is Strathbogie. There's some fantastic camping to do in the area, which is in some places dog friendly. And there's also some great four-wheel driving too. We went to this really unique spot. We could park up on a huge rock and had beautiful views of the countryside around. Now I'm going to talk you through a few waterfalls that you can visit as day trips. So we've got Strath Creek Falls, which is a fairly short walk from the car park. You can't get too close to the waterfall. Then there's Snobs Creek Falls, and you can get very close to the waterfall here. They have a lookout which goes right over the edge of the waterfall. Not good if, like me, you're not good with heights. Then near Buckland, you've got Lower Wilhelmina Falls and Upper Wilhelmina Falls, and there's a few different walks you can do there. It's a very beautiful spot. The next place that we're heading to is Comet Flat Campground, which is just south of Woods Point. We went there as a day trip, and it was a bit of a recce to see if we wanted to camp there. While it did look quite nice, even though it was in the pouring rain and winter, there was quite a lot of rubbish around, and it just had a vibe that maybe on weekends it would be really busy. It's a very unique spot though, with the river running through, and there's a few different campsites on either side. And to get into Comet Flat Campground, you do need to cross the river. That's the end of our High Country and Surrounds video. I hope you've enjoyed this one and it's given you a few different ideas of places to go. If you like this one, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one where we head to Jamieson.